Introduction to Wireless Communication. History of Wireless Communication. In 1896, Guglielmo Marconi invented the wireless telegraph. He used alphanumeric characters to communicate across the Atlantic Ocean. In 1914, the first voice communication was established over radio waves. In 1960s, communication satellites were launched. In recent times, the advances in wireless technology include radio, television, mobile telephone, communication satellites, and satellite communications, wireless networking, and cellular technology. Let's start with the basics of wireless communication. Wireless communication is the transmitting of voice and data using electromagnetic waves in open space or atmosphere. Wireless communication utilizes the properties of electromagnetic waves, like electromagnetic waves travel at the speed of light, which is 3 times 10 to the 8 meter per second, has a frequency and wavelength. Higher frequency means higher energy photons. The higher the energy photon, the more penetrating the radiation is. There are 3 types of wireless communication. First, point-to-point communication. When you dial the number of your friend using your cellular phone, you can talk to your friend and vice versa. That is an example of point-to-point communication. Or when you send a message to your friend receives the message and not all the members in your phone book. So that is point-to-point communication. Next is multi-point communication. An example is our router or the setup in our ICT center, wherein computers and gadgets are connected to a wireless network. These gadgets send signals through wireless communication. Third is broadcast communication. An example is the radio service. Radios receive and transmit messages and signals using the transmitter tower. Electromagnetic spectrum shows the frequencies and wavelengths of the electromagnetic waves, which are important in wireless communication. Some technologies use the following values for wavelengths and frequencies. Global System for Mobile Communications or GSM phones use a frequency of 900 MHz and a wavelength of 33 cm. Personal Communication Services or PCS phones 1.8 GHz and 17.5 cm, while Bluetooth technology utilizes 2.4 GHz and 12.5 cm. Signals are sent using electromagnetic waves. Therefore, electromagnetic waves are also called electromagnetic carriers, and these are examples or types of electromagnetic carriers. When the distance between the sender and receiver is short, like the TV and the remote control, infrared waves are used. For long-range distances between sender and receiver, like TV broadcasting and cellular service, both microwaves and radio waves are used. Radio waves are ideal when large areas need to be covered and obstacles exist in the transmission path. So radio waves are used in TV broadcasting because signals are sent from the broadcasting station to the consumers or receivers. And there are mountains, buildings along the transmission path. While microwaves are good when large areas need to be covered and no obstacles exist in the transmission path, like for the cellular service. The cellular service sends and receives signals through the satellite station in the atmosphere. Here are examples of wireless applications: communication radio, wireless networks, cellular phones, short-range communication. Have you tried using them? Wireless communication has its advantages and disadvantages. For its advantages, it promotes mobility. Our gadgets like cellular phones, tablets, netbooks, and the like can be brought from one place to another. Wireless communication network is a solution in areas where cables are impossible to install, like for areas that are hazardous, or long distances, or islands that are separated by rivers, by seas and oceans, and it is easier to maintain. For its disadvantages, it has security vulnerabilities. We are all familiar with this. Hacking of social media account, bank account, high costs for setting the infrastructure because we need to install transmitters or towers. Unlike wired communication, wireless communication is influenced by physical obstructions like mountains, buildings, climatic conditions. That's why there are cases when there is a storm or it is about to rain, we experience glitches in our internet connection, interference from other wireless devices. Our devices can be affected by nearby devices. The information from sender to receiver is carried over a well-defined frequency band. This is called a channel. Each channel has a fixed frequency bandwidth in kilohertz and capacity in bitrate. Different frequency bands or channels can be used to transmit information in parallel and independently. Are you aware of the problems encountered by ABS-CBN in their franchise renewal? According to the House of Representatives, one of the violations of ABS-CBN is having multiple channels. While operating with one franchise. But the claim of ABS-CBN is they were given a fixed frequency bandwidth and all their multiple channels are working under the fixed frequency bandwidth, so they are not violating any law. Do you agree with them?